as you mentioned, you're out there on social media, educating constantly, providing valuable information to your audience. You have a huge following. So how did you get started in that space? And, what was that initial intention you had? And how important do you think it is today?
Well, when I got on social media at the time, honestly, there wasn't very many people on it. I got a website before most people didn't think to get a website. I was definitely, I would say trailblazing at the time, mostly just because I thought it was cool. And I was like, oh, like social media is definitely a interesting space to get your brand out there. I do think it's very important, but I do think sometimes we get a little lost in it's not the only thing that we need to do to get our brand and our voice out there. I think there's a lot of other avenues that we need to sort of think and be mindful about. But I love the fact that, I have this audience on social media. For me, I think it's definitely opened a lot of doors. It's allowed me to make a lot of great new connections. I've made a lot of great friends from social media. And I would say it's been really, really great. And it's also been really, really crap. There's a whole slew of things there, but I do think it's important. And I think now that we sort of, evolve in our abilities to realize that it doesn't matter whether, you're doing it for just solely getting patients. I've never done it to get patients. It's always been a way for me to just, put my voice out there and figure out sort of what my voice is out there. To be honest, I still always try to figure that out. But I think it's really great to sort of see more healthcare professionals on there. I think it is a really important platform for people to sort of see you in a different light, see what your voices are, to be able to connect with you and resonate with you, and to build that sort of community. I personally think it's a very valuable tool.
In a service-oriented business, especially in healthcare, you as a chiropractor, now starting your own business, how do you make sure that you are working on the business versus, purely working in the business?
So important. Being in versus on. We all talk about that pipe dream of automating our business so that we can be at a beach and just have our practitioners and our staff operate it. It takes work to get to that. And I think a lot of the times we don't realize that, it doesn't just happen overnight. You've got to put the time and the effort to putting your systems in place. But you know what? I think there's also this illusion that you can just be on your business in a beach and never have to deal with your business. If you have that mindset, you have to also be comfortable with knowing where your sort of threshold for growth is. Because if you truly are in growth mode, I don't think you can ever take a full back seat and be on a beach, which again, I think a lot of clinic owners can't make that parallel because they're thinking, well, I need to get busier, but I also need to check out because I've done all this work and now I deserve a break. But I would definitely say in order to be on your business, it's learning business skills. It's getting yourself familiar with what it takes to have a clinic. Having a clinic is not just four walls and a cute logo and, a little bit of social media to support it. And I use those definitions because unfortunately, that's all that we see when we see our friends and our colleagues and we see other people in the industry opening up practices. That's what we see. We don't see the long hours. We don't see, all of the logistics, the planning, the operations, the HR, like the accounting, the finances, the stress, the risk. We don't see any of that. And, there's a lot that needs to be thought about. And that's why a business plan is really important, because in your business plan, you'll also realize you have an exit strategy. What is your exit strategy? And that's how you get on your business. If your exit strategy is to be on a beach and have your junior partner take over and buy equity and take over your practice eventually, great exit strategy. If your exit strategy is to sell to a big clinic, accumulator, great. That's a great exit strategy. And eventually you'll get bought out by them if you have good operations, you have, a good marketing platform, that makes you attractive to them. So I think for everybody to realize what it takes to be on your business, it's realizing what is your goals and how will you get your clinic to be self-sustaining, in the sense that finding the right talent, being okay with, realizing that your business probably needs a lot of admin support, and unfortunately, again, we always say we'll get admin support when the business can afford it.
Right.
But you'll never grow if you don't have admin support, because you can't be practicing, growing, hiring, fire. You can't do all of those roles and still practice. And so, I think it's just realizing that there's a lot that goes in beyond just practicing. And truthfully, not all clinicians should be owners. And I think, if that's truly your dream, become sort of aware with your leadership style, become aware of what you need to do to be an effective business person, because the resources we get in school just are not going to cut it. And our industry needs to evolve. We are a very backward thinking industry. There's very little growth. There's very little innovation. You look at the restaurant and food businesses, you look at technology, you look at so many other industries, and there's just so much, you know, innovation and change. Luckily, the pandemic allowed a lot of technology innovation to happen in healthcare. It was so overdue. You know, it's mind-boggling that now people are like, wait, I can't call my doctor after the pandemic. Like, that cannot leave.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Conveniences that were forced healthcare to become a real business. And I think now we're seeing a lot of disruption. Now we're seeing a lot of change. We're seeing a lot of, you know, great opportunities. But I don't think we should be able to just stop now. We need to keep thinking forward. And so when I tell clinicians, look, if you want to start a business, don't think black and white. Don't just think you're going from associate to owner and there's no other growth opportunity for you outside of those, you know, confines. I think you have to think a little differently, realize there's opportunity in different ways of, you know, scaling yourself and your brand and your business vision. And to be on your business, put systems in place. Without your systems, you will constantly be chasing that pipe dream of being on your business on a beach. It won't happen. I'm 6-7 years in and I'm in growth mode. I have a lot of luxuries to get out of my business because I have so many things automated, but because I'm in growth mode, I use that time to really grow and think about things that I can put in to make more systems and more efficiencies. But I always say, you know, if you're looking to kind of get to that stage of being on, you got to be in the business side of your business, not in the treatment room treating your patients.